and welcome to my second project on managing ML projects. Today, I want to present using my notes, answering every single question that is part of our project work. So, the problem I have chosen to solve today is an ambience based mood uh, music and color automation system. So basically, um, depending on the mood of an individual, um, there will be music played and colors, basically changing the ambience of your room or whatever setup you choose to control through this machine learning algorithm. So basically, I envision this more sort of like a control system that that is driven by your speakers or LED lights, basically using Internet of Things, which is connected to a common cloud, and that's sort of like controlling all of these things at the same time. So the output of this algorithm will actually be able to change the music and change the colors based on your mood. That's the problem. So the reason that I wanted to do this is because when I moved abroad, sometimes I would feel really sad and low, and I would really have liked someone to play good music at the time, uplifting music. So that is something that drove me to solve this problem, and I particularly love music that uplifts me. I love music to help with meditation. So there's a lot of different themes that can be explored with this. Um, so my first and foremost question was, is it feasible with ML? It is hard, but it's possible. And I say hard because we need a couple of inputs, not just, let's say, an ECG to measure sort of maybe the mood, but also, there's various other inputs like if you have to personalize this further, we would probably need to have inputs from their Spotify, maybe what their history was like, understanding patterns of the individual, what kind of music do they listen to, and what kind of moods do they choose to correlate with a particular kind of music. So it is a harder correlation to build, but it is possible. Can data be received? Yes, absolutely. So there are various ways that this can be captured. The basic way that I can identify this is placing a sensor on the individual themselves. So this could be like a smartwatch or a ring or whatever. It has to be an electronic sensor based system placed on the individual. And if that's not possible, we can actually sort of, build an app where, the individual can actually put in some of the preferences of the individual. For example, like if they're in a melancholic mode, are they preferring to listen to uplifting music, or are they preferring to listen to rather melancholic music that goes along with their mood? So things like that. And also having the setup. So are they setting this up at their workplace, at home, or are they setting it up in their living space? Or are they setting it up in the bedroom or in meditation space? So things like that, those preferences can be captured through an application. And also data from the Spotify user history. I've only chosen Spotify as a specific application. This could also be multiple different applications, YouTube Music, soundtrack, various such modifications or other data sources can be added to this. The business impact, yes, there is a huge impact in the fact that it is personalized, and so it's not just the music, but it's also the ambience, which means the colors, the lighting, and all of that. Of course, each and every part of this, I want to make it very modular. So if somebody doesn't have those lights, it doesn't have to be controlled with the algorithm output. But basically, it's creating that user delight, and I see that as quite a big impact that adds to a user experience of the product overall. Um, Second part is this crisp DM business understanding. which has three parts. One is defining the problem, defining the success criteria, and the identifying factors. So, defining the problem, I think I've already explained it quite in detail in the first part, so I'm gonna skip that. Success criteria to me would be a perfect recognition of the mood and changing the music or the lighting accordingly. The prerequisite for all of this is that these systems be connected, and they be connected online to the Wi-Fi or um, the network. So that's the prerequisite. So the success criteria for me would be the outcome being within split seconds, maybe 5 seconds, just as an example. Um, the lights would change and the music would change, and the minute your mood changes, that also would be changing within the next 5 seconds. So that's success for me. What is my solution, and what's the validation plan? So I've actually chosen a random forest. Um, there is a potential to do neural networks, but neural networks would be a lot more complicated. So for simplicity, I've just chosen random forest. Um, for to begin with, I think the mood, the input to the mood sensing would be ECG. That's what I would, I would start with. So based on the ECG, we could select moods, and that would be input into the system. So that's one of the factors, um, or the features. And then the other feature, like I said, would be your music history. That would be another feature, and the third would be the user preference on the space and their own preferences on music, either being aligned with their mood or in opposition to their mood. And then the way I would validate this is running the model real time with certain focus groups, and I would choose people from different demographics and different music tastes. Also, those in different spaces. So that could be a workplace, a meditation area. So make all the possible combinations and have a solution validation through those experiments to validate my model. And it's a classification problem, if I didn't mention that before. The next is choosing the ML systems. I would choose cloud versus edge. I would choose edge just because latency is very, very less in this case. So I actually need it to be on the device. But what's interesting here would be that it needs to be cloud over time, because we do need and we will recognize patterns with a particular user once it's established that this user is behaving a certain way, and the preferences are set. I think that can then be moved to the cloud. So there's some potential to be hybrid here. It'll be an online learning model, because obviously, similar to a facial recognition, the data will change rapidly, quickly. So we need the system to be online, and learning as the individual's mood changes. So we need that to be an online learning model and an online prediction as well, because we cannot do batch prediction with this model. We need those answers instantly. Um, the last part is basically coming up with challenges. Challenges for this particular model that I could think of is one, concept drift. If any of the preferences of the individual change or shifts, then the model will not work. So, for example, if somebody in the meditation space or somebody in the workspace wanted something that uplifts them instead of going with the mood, that would be a preference change that would then have to be input in the beginning, and then the model needs to be trained again and all of that. So that's one area that could come up as a problem. And also the training and the actual the training and the running skew. So serving skew could happen when you've trained the model with certain set of data sets, certain data, and when it's actually being you know, tested on real-time users, because there are so many different inputs, it could actually be a little skewed and not give the right results. Although we will be offsetting some of that during the validation phase, this is a potential challenge that I do see um, with this particular model. The other thing too is keeping in mind the different types of music genres. Any of that might change, could also sort of bring about a shift in the data. So there could be a potential data drift, but I don't see too much of it. I would say concept drift and training serving skew, those two would be my biggest challenges. So that concludes my presentation. It was my notes. Thank you for being patient with me and listening to me through this project. Thank you.